Good evening and welcome to the Somerville Redevelopment Authority meeting of September 10th. My name is Phil Ercolini. I'm chair of the Somerville Redevelopment Authority, and I called this meeting to order at 5:33, I guess, pursuant to Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2023. This public meeting of the SRA is being conducted via remote participation. This session will be recorded and will be a public record. I'll now ask the board members to confirm they are in attendance, and I'll do so in alphabetical order. Awana Bonney.
Here.
Ewan Campen.
Here.
William Gage.
Here.
Patrick McCormick.
Here.
Christine Stone is not joining us this evening, and myself, Phil Ercolini. We do have a quorum, so I'll now ask city staff to present a few of the house rules about using the technology. Ben?
Yep. Hi, everyone. My name is Ben Demers. I'm a senior planner in economic development with the city of Somerville, and I serve as staff to the Somerville Redevelopment Authority, which we'll refer to as the SRA in this evening's meeting. So when an agenda item is being presented this evening, any presentation materials that staff have received ahead of time will be displayed on the screen. If city staff or other participants wish to direct the board's attention to a specific page, they should verbally note what page staff should show on the screen, and should then verbally explain to the board what is being shown. Please also note that this meeting is being conducted remotely using Zoom webinar. In order to comply with open meeting law under state guidance, which does not allow for what is called side conversation, the chat function amongst attendees has been disabled. If you as an attendee have a question or would like to make a comment on the matters that are discussed this evening, please use the raise hand function to indicate that you would like to speak. I will then unmute participants one by one and give you 2 minutes to speak. And when it is your turn, please clearly state your name and address before saying anything else. After 2 minutes, your microphone will then be muted. And just a final reminder that any questions asked by attendees this evening will be a part of the open record. And I'll now pass things to the SRA Special Counsel, Catherine Lester-Salkert.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Catherine Lester-Salkert, and I am Special Counsel to the SRA. Just want to remind all SRA members that all votes taken this evening must be roll call votes. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Catherine. So we'll get right to the agenda, and item number 1 is approval of the June 11th general meeting minutes. I ask if any of the members had an opportunity to review the minutes, and are there any edits, amendments, or errata that people want to acknowledge?
I didn't see anything, Phil.
Okay, neither did I. So seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the June 11th general meeting minutes. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Awana Bonney makes a motion to approve, and is there a second? Patrick McCormick seconds. We'll do roll call vote. Awana Bonney.
Yes.
Ewan Campen.
Yes.
William Gage.
Yes.
Patrick McCormick.
Yes.
Christine Stone is not with us this evening. Phil Ercolini votes yes, so that has been approved. Thank you for that. Item number 2 is a public comment period. Any members of the public, Ben, out there would like to address the board at this time?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I do not see any hands up at the moment. There is one member of the public this evening. So if we want to give a few seconds to see if they raise their hand. For you, Mr. Chair, I don't see any hands.
All right, thank you, Ben. The next item on the agenda is recruitment and reappointment update.
Yeah, so through you, Mr. Chair, this is a quick update from staff. So the first piece of this, I just want to give a quick update that the mayor's office has approved one of the selected candidates for the vacant SRA position, which had been sent to her office by the Appointments Advisory Committee. And this is the committee that interviews all applicants for a certain subset of city boards and commissions. So for the next step, that recommendation is going to be sent from the mayor's office to the city council. And generally, they will then refer that that individual's name to the Confirmation of Appointments and Personnel Matters Committee, or CAPM. And then CAPM will make a recommendation back to the full council for a final vote. I don't yet have a timing of that CAPM meeting. I'm anticipating this moving forward in the month of September. So hopefully that new SRA member can begin joining meetings in October or at the latest, the November meeting. So that is exciting. It's been good to see that process move forward. And then the second piece, I'm just going to give a quick note that in January, the mayor's office is intending to roll out a new reappointment policy, similar to how they did with the recruitment policy this past year. And this is going to introduce a new review and process for reappointing existing members on city boards and commissions. I know this is something that some SRA members have asked about in the past, so mostly just want to flag this to let you know more information is going to be coming early next year.
Okay, all right. Any questions of Ben on that?
No.
No. Okay, seeing none. Item number 4 is Union Square Revitalization Plan. We have an update from Union Square Station Associates on the USRP implementation. And Greg Kozinski is here this evening, I guess, to give us an update. Is that correct?
Yep. So as you mentioned, Craig Karcheski from Union Square Station Associates, or US2, is with us this evening. So he's going to give an update on implementation of the Union Square Revitalization Plan. This is part of the quarterly updates that US2 provides to the SRA board. So Greg, I'll hand things over to you.
Terrific. Thanks, Chair Galini, members of the board. I do have a couple of slides to share. Ben, if you wouldn't mind just enabling the slide share, I'd appreciate it. Terrific.
You want to
There we go. As Ben mentioned, my name is Greg Karcheski. I'm president of US2, the designated master developer for the Union Square Revitalization. Appreciate the opportunity to be before this board this evening, providing a periodic update on our implementation of the Union Square Revitalization Plan. Tonight's agenda. To advance. There we go. Apologies. Tonight's agenda is really focused on two pieces of the project. The first is what's a really exciting milestone for all of us collectively, which is a completion milestone for 10 to 50 Prospect, which is the D2.1 and D2.2 and 3 portions of the project. Then I'll provide an update on some of the community benefit work that we've been doing, and certainly leave time at the end for questions, any questions that this board might have. First, to address the completion milestone as part of the process that US2 and the SRA have together. When we reach substantial completion of a phase of the project, we're required to issue a notice of compliance to the SRA, indicating that the project is complete and asking for the board to act on that notice. So we submitted that notice to Chair Urquilini and the board at the beginning of September. I think it may have been September 3rd. As part of the process, we'll have a tour, which I understand has been coordinated for next week sometime of the property. But I wanted to spend just a couple minutes this evening really kind of talking through what we've been able to accomplish more broadly with the D2 project. And so on the screen tonight really is the state of the D2 project back in 2013, which was a vacant parcel. This is actually the wrong photo. This is supposed to be a scrapyard. I apologize, but there was a metal scrapyard on the site. Some folks may remember the number of radiators that are on the property. And then historically, the Millers River ran through the property. So it has a really long and deep industrial past. And so what was envisioned collectively through the Union Square Revitalization and the neighborhood plan, and ultimately our approved master plan, the coordinated development special permit, was a mixed-use project of a lab building and a residential building that would connect the future, at the time, the future Green Line station and, and a really important node within the neighborhood, Union Square Plaza. Obviously the home of the farmers market, often the home of the Fluff Festival, and a lot of the other festivals, really the living room of the community. And so this was really what was envisioned back in 2019. And through our collective work together, we started construction on this project back in 2020. And that, over 3.5 years of construction. Here's a photo of where we are today. This is an actual aerial photo, of those projects. And I can kind of scroll back and forth and, prove out that we actually delivered what was envisioned back in 2019, which is exciting for all of us. And, instead of the vision of a Green Line station, we now have the station that's fully accessible. And we've improved the streetscape along the Prospect Street edge and the Somerville Avenue edge, creating a much stronger connection between Union Square Plaza and the T station. And through this development, we've been able to collectively really target all the key areas of Summervision. The 10 Prospect Street project will support 500 new jobs in Somerville. Union Square Station, the new civic space, provides over 20,000 square feet of new public open space. And then we've created new housing, 450 units, 90 of those permanently affordable. And then over $5 million of investment in mobility, whether that's transit or new sidewalks for pedestrians, or over 700 bike parking spaces across the development. And then, part of the goal was to create new economic development. The project itself is going to, create over $4 million in annual tax revenue. That tax revenue obviously is important, not only for the city to continue, the things that are priorities for its constituents, but also helps to fund the tax improvement and finance district, or DIF district, that funded the Somerville Avenue streetscape and utility improvements. And so that's big picture. And then, kind of diving a little bit deeper, providing we'll see all of this in person when we're together, but giving a quick update on the components here. On the lab building, we've completed the building. It's fully operational. We actually just last month completed the build out of 2 floors of lab suites that are plug and play lab suites. So a lab tenant can move right into those spaces, to try and position ourselves to be even more attractive in the current lab environment. We continue to work on getting tenants for that building. Hope to have an announcement soon on that front. And then transitioning over to the residential building, of the 450 units, we're 93% occupied, including 100% occupied on all the affordable housing units, which we're really excited about and really proud of. And, can't wait to show you that building. And then lastly, the civic space. So Station Plaza was, a tricky civic space because it served a bunch of different roles. It was intended to make up the grade difference between the building and the rise of the Prospect Avenue sidewalk as it approaches the bridge over the railroad right away. It was supposed to, intended to be a gateway to Union Square Station. We're really excited about the way it's turned out. It's starting to grow in from a landscaping standpoint. It was designed by Shauna Gilly-Smith and the team from Ground Inc., which is a woman-owned Union Square business, and is actually larger than Union Square. It's over 18,000 square feet. I think Union Square Plaza, is 16,000 feet, and it includes, over 54 trees, 10,000 different perennials and grasses and bulbs, and as well as some art moments and connectivity to the retail that'll start to occupy the ground floor. Really the goal being to create a really activated space over time that all are welcome to participate in and experience. And, a key component of all of this, as we've worked together over, it's almost 10 years now, hard to believe, but there was a period in time where the Green Line station was over budget and was uncertain. And as part of, resolving the budget uncertainty, we worked with the T in the city to really identify improvements that are part of the station that could be constructed as part of our project that would support the opening. And so we're really proud of the fact that we've been able to, complete the break room, the bike and storage racks, and the ride drop off for paratransit, and then an accessible path through a challenging grade environment across the site, and then the MBTA elevator, which is featured in this picture to the left. It's great to see, more and more people getting used to using the transit. I think as we're starting to get out of COVID era, we're definitely seeing an increase in volume in and out of the station every day, which is terrific. And then, one of the goals of the project was really very clearly, in addition to hitting those key Summervision targets, but also fiscal benefits. And we've been able to deliver over $36 million through, all these various avenues back to the city, whether it's the land purchase or permit fees or linkage payments or development covenant payments. That's almost 10% of the city's annual budget. So a really meaningful contribution. And one of the benefits, key community benefits that came out of our conversations with the Union Square Neighborhood Council was really to target a diverse construction workforce. And so we worked with our contractors on site Over 975,000 worker hours were performed in delivering the buildings, and 41% of those were by people of color, 8% by Somerville residents, and 5% by women. And really strong start for the first project within the development in terms of a diversified workforce. And we hope to learn from the process that we went through on this first project as we move forward with other vertical construction. And then really the last piece about D2 is really the importance of the collaboration that's happened from beginning to end to deliver this result. And there's a smattering of images here from one of the very first neighborhood meetings we had around the D2 project, to a ribbon cutting, to a celebration of a tea opening, to a topping out ceremony with the iron workers, an open house we had for local businesses to share with them the retail plans and get them engaged in the opportunities for retail within the project, the signing of the community benefits agreement. And then, we hosted a number of different school programs, including the career tech ed program from the high school, a couple different times to use the project as a learning lab. So hopefully that provides a good sort of level setting about where we've been and what's been accomplished on D2. I really look forward to seeing you all on site and being able to kind of walk the spaces and put your feet on the ground in a transformation that's occurred that's really significant on D2. And then the last section here is really just, the work that we've continued to do around community and public benefits. Since we were last together, we worked on offering tours for groups throughout the community, including, Main Streets, the Neighborhood Council, the Chamber of Commerce, the City of Somerville, SRA, to come visit the project and experience it. And so we invited over 125 individuals from around the city that have touched or been part of the project to come tour over several sequential evenings in June. We're going to support Fluff Festival. I think this is our ninth time supporting Fluff. A prize wheel there that's really a big hit. So we'll be participating and supporting small businesses through Fluff. We continue to work on the D4.3 affordable housing project. There's a lot of different activity happening, including some acquisition discussions, some pre-development activity, some design work, and some coordination with both MassDOT and the city around kind of the changing road network around that site. And then the last couple of pieces here, arts and support of the arts is an important part of the overall project. There's a quarter within the project, the residential project, that has been designated as a public art exhibit. So we're currently displaying what's called the Art of Celebration, and has a number of posters from different events that have occurred in the square. And we're working with Somerville Arts Council to curate a rotating art gallery in that space. We've also, supported Union Square Main Street's Good Food for All program, and just an incredible program that they developed to help folks that don't have great access to quality foods have better access to quality foods. And then we also were thrilled to support Main Streets in their Keeping Small Strong steering committee culmination meeting that they had back in June, where they invited folks from throughout the community to come learn about the work they've been doing with their ARPA grant to really to create a sustainable future for the Main Streets organization. Certainly a really important partner for all the businesses in the square. And with that, I appreciate your time this evening. Certainly am able this evening to answer any questions, and look forward to meeting you all on site and sharing the project.
Thank you, Greg. Any questions from members of the SRA, or any comments I'd like to offer at this time? I just have, go ahead, Bill. Bill Gage, go ahead.
Hi, Greg. I wanted to compliment you again on the landscaping, because I think your landscapers did a really great job. One of the things I wanted to ask is, what are you proposing to do with D 2.4? What's the status on that?
Yes, through the chair to member Gage. Thank you for the comment about the landscaping. It was designed by Shauna Gilly Smith, local architect, and we're excited about the way it's turning out. As it grows in, I think it's going to get better and better, which is terrific. In terms of the D 2.4 site, That site was set aside because it was a laydown area for the MBTA construction. So it wasn't part of this initial phase of the project, if you will. It's envisioned as, and it's planned to become a neighborhood park over time and to go through the design and site plan review process to be improved as a neighborhood park, most likely with one of the future phases of the project. So as we've kind of internally through our business planning identified the hotel on D1, which doesn't have a lot of civic space connected with it, that it would be a nice complement to improve that space when the hotel gets developed. In the interim, we do plan to plant it and make it usable before we go through the full design process. So working on doing something like that soon. So hopefully that answers your question.
All right, thank you.
I don't see any other questions. Greg, I'd like to ask you a question, and maybe just your opinion on something. I know it doesn't, well, my first question is, if correct me if I'm wrong, you indicated that you tenanted 10 Prospect Street, 2 floors for lab science. Is that correct?
We've actually, so we don't have, unfortunately, we don't have tenants quite yet, but what we've done is when we started the project, you typically could market space as core and shell, meaning, just the center of the building and the exterior walls were in place. And then you'd work with the tenant to build out the space. And typically the landlord would pay for part of the build out and the tenant would pay for the part of the build out. Because the market has shifted, now tenants are expecting the landlord to deliver completed space. And so we went ahead and built out, at our cost, 2 floors of completed lab suites. So we're now in the process of working on trying to identify tenants that could occupy those spaces. So the 6th floor is divided into 3 suites of 10,000 feet, and the 5th floor is divided into 2 suites of 15,000 feet each.
The reason I asked that is that I had an opportunity to review an appraisal, a market appraisal of not only that area, but the Boynton Yards and other areas in the city. As it relates to biotech and lab space in the science area. And what do you foresee for US2 down the road as it relates to building more of those types of buildings? I think that was the hope 10 years ago of having more of that, but nonetheless, what are your thoughts on that?
Yes, it's a great question. We're obviously, the market is obviously very cyclical. We've all experienced market cycles. We're in a more difficult part of the market right now from a commercial standpoint, whether it's life sciences or office. We remain, steadfast in realizing the goals that we all set out for the project, which is to really, restore Union Square, Somerville's commercial downtown, and to add more commercial spaces. And so, we also very much believe in the fundamentals of the metro area, in terms of the educational institutions, all the work that's happening in Kendall Square, the talent base that is here. And so, we're continuing to move forward with the original business plan in terms of creating those commercial spaces, albeit, things are happening more slowly than we would have hoped.
And so, and that being the case, how does that impact your financing or the capital market as it relates? I mean, might you have to shift to other types of businesses or more housing, I guess, seems to be the common refrain these days, multifamily housing.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, I think that the financing market, the capital markets, it requires more financial wherewithal to sort of endure the current conditions. And so we're fortunate to have Affinius Capital as our partner and be willing to kind of work through this tough part in the market. Certainly the idea of exploring other alternative uses, down the line is, I think something we can talk about as we move forward. But for right now, I think the things that, the projects that we have in front of us, we're focused on trying to get tenants in this first building and then launching 50 Webster, which would be the next life sciences building in the project.
Okay. All right, Greg, thank you. Any Ben, you and Kevin have a question, comment maybe?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have two questions. First of all, thank you for the presentation. I think in particular, I want to thank you for the work that I know went into getting the affordable units tenanted at, probably faster than the market rate units, as we mentioned. So thank you, and to the Housing Division for all the work there. So I have two questions, and if you can't answer them tonight, that's fine. One is, so as a ward counselor, we get tons of questions whenever there's new housing about parking. And obviously, this project had a very sophisticated mobility management plan that was developed in conjunction with the city. I'm sort of curious. So there's 450 new units. There's a garage that is rented at market rate, or is available. You're not kind of guaranteed a spot, is my understanding of how the kind of parking challenges are mitigated. Do we have a sense of how many of those tenants are bringing a car or are using a car? And this is really kind of a forward-looking curiosity for me, given how frequently this issue comes up.
Through Chair Galini to member Ewan Campen, thanks for the comment about the affordable housing. We're thrilled with the fact that those are all occupied. It's obviously an important goal for everybody involved. I think on the parking, I'll have to get some information from our property management team, which I can do, between now and when we meet on site. The project was planned to be parked at one parking space for just about every 4 units, which, was relying on the transit location, but was pushing the envelope in terms of where the market was at the time. I think it's been manageable, but not without challenge, I would say, just from what I'm hearing from our property management group at a high level. But let me get some, kind of get the numbers about, how many people are actually, using a vehicle in the building, and be happy to share that information with you.
Great. Yeah, I would appreciate it. And, this is not something I need tomorrow. I'm just interested because I think for members of the public, especially, this stuff is really counterintuitive. People think, oh, there's terrible traffic, we need to build a lot more parking spots. For, folks who work in urban planning and city government, they kind of understand it to be the opposite, that if you build an excess of parking lots, that guarantees that there will be way too many cars. So we're kind of in this trying to push the envelope, as you said, and I think all of us are interested in ways that is working and not. My other question, forgive me if I missed this, I've seen all the signs and went through the process on Life Alive coming. Can you talk more about the other what we can expect for the ground floor retail, for activating the other retail spaces there?
Through Chair Galini to member Ewan Campen, yes, I should have mentioned that. So Life Alive is going to open in early October, which we're very excited about. There'll be a 3 meal a day, so breakfast, lunch, and dinner on the corner of Bennett Court and Prospect. And then we're working with our retail broker, Graffito, on the other spaces. And we're focused right now on the potential of a cafe space in the life sciences building, and some other food and beverage in the life sciences building, as well as the space underneath the tower in the residential building. So kind of the key corners of the building. It's a difficult retail market as well right now. The retail operators have been under a lot of stress from a lot of different stressors over the last period of time, both local, local and more macro kind of conditions. So the lease up's taken us a little bit longer. We're thrilled with Life Alive, getting closer with some others, so hopefully we'll have some other announcements here soon, but also trying to be selective about who we add to the small business community here. So that's about all I can share right now, but
okay. Through you, thank you. That's helpful. And can I just ask, on the life sciences building, is the ground floor retail there is the idea to have it be one very large business covering that entire frontage on Somerville and Prospect, or is it multiple smaller spaces, or is that TBD?
Through the chair, it's to be determined, but I would say that it's more likely that it becomes several businesses along that Somerville Avenue segment, and then we have a separate a little over 2,000 square foot space south of the entry, you know, closer to Bennett Court. But I would imagine, you know, it's more than likely that that will be more than one tenant on that Somerville Avenue side, but we have left it wide open so that we have flexibility to, you know, to adjust to different users that might be a good fit for the square and the project.
Got it. Yeah, that's certainly my preference as well. All right, thank you. I'm all set, Chair.
Thank you, Ben. Any other questions of Greg at this time? Okay, seeing none. Thank you, Greg. And we'll see you next week sometime.
Thank you. Have a good evening. Appreciate your
I
time.
think it has been scheduled though, Ben, right? Correct? It's the next, what, Tuesday?
I
Wednesday?
don't off the top of my head have the date.
Okay,
but,
at
but
8 o'clock
yes,
at
next
10
week.
Prospect Street, correct? I'm pretty sure that's the case. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, see you later. Good night. All right, the next item on the agenda is an overview of the certificate of compliance process.
Yep, through you, Mr. Chair. So this is just a quick update from staff to give a little more context to something that Greg mentioned. Sorry, I'm just pulling up some notes. Okay, so I do not have a slide on this, but just want to review quickly. So for context, to ensure everyone also who is joining the meeting is on the same page. So the Master Land Disposition Agreement, or the MLDA, which Greg referenced, is the agreement between the SRA and US2 that governs their implementation of the Union Square Revitalization Plan, or USRP. This document requires US2 to apply for what's called a certificate of compliance for any disposition parcel or portion of a disposition parcel for which they've completed development. The certificate as drafted would also remove the right of reverter that the SRA currently holds over that parcel, which would essentially remove the SRA's right for reclaiming the parcel through the process of urban renewal. So this is often an important factor in the development team being able to refinance the project. So just to give some more context on the process, to issue the certificate, staff have recommended that the building should have received its certificate of occupancy for the development, which also encompasses compliance with the development covenant and delivery of any on-site infrastructure. Both of these are necessary for that certificate of occupancy issuance. We've also recommended that SRA members tour the building to see the development firsthand. So obviously this, Greg referenced this, and we were talking about this meeting for next week. And this gives SRA members a chance to kind of see that space firsthand and see what has been developed. And then we will kind of talk through these at the next meeting. So once that request has been submitted, and as Greg mentioned, that was submitted to Chair Urcolini on September 3rd, and then shared with other SRA members with the material for this meeting. The SRA has 45 days to approve or deny the request for the certificate of compliance. So this brings us to Friday, October 18th. And by that point, the SRA will need to issue a response. So the plan currently from staff is going to be to complete the tour in the coming month, and then the goal will be to come back and vote in October whether to approve or deny that certificate of compliance. So staff still need to review some of the documentation and the proposed language for that certificate, but we're going to be giving more guidance on this ahead of the October meeting. Mostly just wanted to kind of give a little more context to this, since I knew Greg was going to reference it and had submitted that official request.
Okay, thanks, Ben. Any questions, Bill?
Yeah, Ben, does the parcel D 2.4, is that part of this compliance or isn't it?
So that is part of the documentation that we're going to be reviewing, Bill, but that's a question that we've been talking about, and we're going to provide more information about that ahead of the October meeting.
Yeah, because when you look at it, it looks kind of, I mean, it's in or it's out, and you really can't tell. And so I think that seems to be the loose piece here, is whether or not that gets included in the certificate of compliance, because as of today, you know, there's been, you know, no improvements on the parcel, and whether they're going to do it or the city's going to do it.
Right. No, I appreciate you bringing that up. I will say, first off, I don't think there's an expectation that the city is going to do it. So I want to note that. But the documentation around the phasing for D2 and how exactly D2.4 is included with this specific request is part of the documentation that staff is currently reviewing.
Okay.
So definitely top of mind, but we're going to have more information on that ahead of October's meeting.
Okay. Thanks, Ben.
Yeah, of course.
All right, thanks, Bill. Any other questions of Ben on that matter? Okay, seeing none, the next item on the agenda is.
Oh,
item
sorry,
number-
Chair.
Yes, I, go ahead.
Through you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, Ben, I was just gonna ask, are there any other issues or loose ends that the staff are working on?
Not that are top of mind now.
Okay, okay. And just to clarify, what you described just now, that could be left in or out of what we'd be approving potentially.
D 2.4.
Yeah,
Yes, potentially, but that's more details about that are in the documentation that we need
Okay.
to review. So I don't want to speak to assuredly one way or the other.
okay, thanks.
Thank you, Patrick. Any other questions of Ben? Okay, seeing none, then the next item on the agenda is item number 5, which is 90 Washington Street Demonstration Project Plan, and we have some planning updates from the staff.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair, and through you, I just want to quickly update the authority on our last Civic Advisory Committee for 90 Washington Street. I briefed that committee on the presentation. I gave the authority on the parking layouts at 90 Washington Street, and especially the the small parking lot by 84 Washington Street and the access drive that currently exists going down to 70 Washington Street on the Cobble Hill apartment. 90 Washington Street. And after providing that presentation, the committee almost uniformly approved redeveloping 90 Washington for as much housing and neighborhood-based retail space as possible. So I just wanted to update the authority on that development. As you may remember previously, the Civic Advisory Committee recommended that existing parking field and the access drive be left untouched. After providing the advisory committee with the information I shared with the authority, they've changed that desire to maximize the site for housing and neighborhood level retail. So I'm happy to take any questions. And I also, I think, Ben, you provided a copy of the presentation. Yeah.
Yeah, and I can also share if there's any
Oh.
particular piece you want to point to, Ted, just let me know and I'll share.
Sure. Could you put up, I think it's the second or third slide that shows the existing site. That would be great. Yeah, so that is the area in yellow is the parking lot and the access drive in question. So the advisory committee now supports development on that yellow portion of the 90 Washington Street site.
Okay, any questions of Ted on that? Okay, all right.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. All right, the next item of that sub B is a request to go into executive session to discuss active litigation relative to Cobble Hill Center LLC versus the Somerville Redevelopment Authority. We need a motion to do that. So we need a motion to leave the public session and to go into executive session for that purpose that I stated previously. And the intention is to return to the public session after the completion of the executive session. So I would entertain a motion to do that, to leave our public session and to enter into our executive session. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Ben Ewan Campen makes the motion. Is there a second? Phil, I'm sorry.
second,
Awana Bonnie seconds. All those in favor, Awana Bonnie,
yes,
Ben Ewan Campen,
Yes.
William Gage,
Yes,
Patrick McCormick,
Yes,
Christine Stone is not with us tonight. Phil Ercolini voted yes. We will move into executive session. Hopefully successfully. Did we drop Bill along the way, Ben?
We did, but there are no more substantive items, so I think that is okay, and I will communicate it to him directly following the meeting.
All right, so, we have enough to. So item number 6 is items not reasonably anticipated by the chair. Okay, seeing none, the next, item is our adjournment. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Ben Ewan Campen makes the motion. Is there a second?
Second,
Alana Bonnie seconds. Roll call vote on that. Alana Bonnie,
yes.
Ben Ewan Campen,
Yes.
Woody Gage is not here this evening. Patrick McCormick,
Yes.
Christine Stone is not with us this evening, and Phil Ercolini vote yes. So, all right, meeting is adjourned. We'll see, hopefully we'll see all of you next week sometime at Prospect Street. If not, we'll see you in October.
Thanks, everybody.
Good luck
Thank
at the
you.
finance meetings.
Thanks. Say a prayer about tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, good
Preserve our
luck.
budget, Catherine,
We'll be
preserve
watching.
our budget.
Thanks.
All right, bye.